Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Palmer, Dutch Talk Speed Selling. This is Raging Verbalist number 320. For those of you keeping track, hopefully you are. We're every week on YouTube and a Facebook group, which is the Position to Win book, Position to Win book. Check us out and make sure you stay up to date on things. So, wow, well, what a difference a week makes. Last week I was sitting there on the road and having a great trip and lots of good things happening, and then woke up on Saturday morning and well, the world had fallen out of bed. War had started in Iran, and well, lots of things have happened since then. So today we're going to talk about what I've talked about previously, which is oil. Now, if I don't know where you fall on the spectrum, the aisle, the whatever you want to call it, but I can tell you right now that oil and energy is endemic to everything that you do, everything that happens. So right now, oil prices hit $90 in certain markets. And by the way, if you want to check it out, you can go to oilprice.com, oilprice.com. I get nothing for it, but that's where I keep on top of it. Just a disclaimer. I actually own oil stocks. I own pipeline stocks. I bought them when they were cheap, by the way, and I don't have a recommendation for you, but I can tell you that oil prices have surged again today on Friday. And this is the March the 6th update, and putting crude on track for the biggest gain in years because there's lots of disruption going on in the Middle East. And by the way, tanker traffic is, well, it's basically stopped. And it stopped through the Strait of Hormuz. For those who are not aware, and on top of this, 20% of the world's oil goes through that narrow stretch of water. And that's just the way that thing goes. Now, Brent crude, which is one of the benchmarks, if you go and look in oilprice.com, maybe you won't be surprised. I was the first time I saw it, but there are lots of different variations of oil that the world keeps track of. Oil is, because people talk about how, well, someday we're going to hit that 24/7, 365 days of the year, 366 when you count in, the old good old leap year. We're going to be trading a commodity. Oil has been that way for years. There's always oil trading somewhere in the world, and there's always oil moving somewhere in the world. Now, it was up more than 4% on the day, while the U.S. benchmark West Texas Intermediate climbed 85.90. Again, these are not contemporaneous. These are what I got from looking at this, gaining more than $4.80. And then Mumban, Murban, I think Murban. Anyway, this is a Middle East benchmark, and that's approaching the $100 mark. It didn't quite touch $100. It was 99.60. And this rally caps an entire week of where prices have jumped and escalating and going up and up and up. Now it's tied to the conflict of Iran, which has expanded. I believe the current count is that Iran has attacked after having had the initial start, 13 different countries. And that means, crazy shit's happening. How's that for being there? And there's growing fears. Now, the biggest challenge of the Strait of Hormuz may not be, in fact, the Iranian Navy, which, as of yesterday, 30 ships have been sunk. But what will happen is that insurance rates go up through the roof because, let me tell you, there's not a single ship that travels that doesn't have insurance. And since that narrow passageway has 20% of the world's oil, that creates uncertainty. Uncertainty creates price instability, and prices usually go only one direction. Now, frankly, this is the highest that things have been in the last 4 years. I predicted years ago that we were going to hit $100 a barrel. I was, how you say, absolutely wrong about that. But frankly, markets now are pricing in and factoring in that exports from the Persian Gulf will have greater logistical challenges, which is a nice way of saying, can you get the stuff out? And then, of course, the spread between Brent and West Texas Intermediate has narrowed in the past week because it's surging on disruptions of seaborne crude oil, and tangible oil production outages also in Iraq will take place. So as that narrows, that means that Brent starts to get West Texas gets more expensive, that shows that this narrowing is that the U.S. oil supply is worth more than it was before. And this compression suggests that traders are bidding up. I do not play commodities myself. Dangerous game for those who aren't experts in it. Don't suggest anybody dives in on it. And of course, as we see everything start moving up, it will affect globally what's going on. And there will be a certain level of inflation that takes place because oil is a component in everything that we do. It's less so because if you go back to ancient history, 1973, when the first oil shock hit, we have seen a doubling and then eventually a tripling of the U.S. economy. But the actual demand for U.S. oil or for oil and petroleum products in the U.S. has stayed relatively flat, which means that we have become more efficient, more optimized. We use less energy to produce the same GDP. Good news, however, even though we're drill baby drilling, there is a global thirst for this. In spite of what the Greens will tell you, I mean, the idea that we're going to get rid of oil anytime soon, which is, by the way, why I bought things like pipelines and big oil. Now, frankly, the White House is trying to figure out, well, how do we ease this pressure and pricing on consumers? I live in California, and I can tell you the pump prices have gone up. But I will leave you with this. As long as uncertainty around Hormuz pressures oil or persists, oil prices are likely to continue to go up. And the $90 mark is just maybe a day or so away, or maybe even later today. Now, if you're wondering about your own business and your own career and what you're going to do, I would suggest that you go grab a resource, maybe not drive anywhere or come back on your that. So that gives you time to read my book. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to win. And go check it out. It's available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million. Wherever books are sold, you can go ask for it. Say, hey, this guy, this Mendoza dude said, hey, go get it. You can also get it from our website at position2winbuck.com, position2winbuck.com. Also, I will autograph it for you if you say, geez, John, this is what I need you to do. And then, of course, you can get it digitally with Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble Nook, and Apple iBooks. If you do that, you'll probably learn some good things. Most importantly, I just want to tell you and emphasize that you should be prepared to see prices continue to go up and that this will ripple through every single economy in the world. Now, just because it's going to happen sometime in the future, you should start to prepare yourself for those things now. And there are opportunities from the investment side of it, but you have to decide that yourself. So that's your Raging Verbalist for today. And all I can tell you is that though I don't ever root for oil to go through the roof, we follow and learn and live with what we have. Remember, always play the hand that's dealt to you, but play it the best that you possibly can. And with that, I'm John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. The Raging Verbalist is now over, and we'll see you on the next Raging Verbalist.